right, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Patrice Fugron. I am VP of R&D at Dakis. Most of you have seen me at trade shows. We've spoken on the phone. I'm joined here by...
My name is Ryan Fleury. I do customer success over here at Dakis. Most of you have seen me at trade shows, and we have spoken on the phone.
Yeah. For the purpose of the webinar, I'm going to be presenting. I'm going to share my screen in a bit to show you unified commerce, the future of photo and camera retail. And Ryan, my accomplice here, will be in charge of moderating the webinar.
Yeah, I'll be taking your questions, asking Patrice. So
yeah,
don't be shy to send me whatever you want to talk about.
Type in questions at any time. If they're interesting enough, we may open up your mic and have a little discussion about it. As always, we appreciate your feedback. We like that you get involved. So go ahead and fire off questions as we go. So today's webinar, again, myself, Chris and Ryan. So here's the ordre du jour. This is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to start off with the why the unified POS, why the unified commerce presentation. This is a presentation that we did at iPic, that we did at PhotoSource. Those of you that were at those shows may have seen this part. So I promise I'm going to do it quick. And those of you that weren't at the trade shows this year, well, we're going to go through it together. We're going to follow that up with a live product demo of where we are now, the current state of affairs. I'm also going to do something that we haven't done much of before, Ryan. I'm going to do a preview of some of the work we have in progress, some of the features that we are working on. These features are direct from your feedback and the things that we spoke about at the different trade shows or in our conversations. And interestingly enough, the only people that have seen this work in progress here are Tanya, our UI UX designer, Emmanuel, our product owner, and myself. So this is going to be new even to the people from Dakis that are tuning into the webinar.
Can't wait to get my mind blown, Pat.
Correct. And then we're going to look at some few recent releases and our roadmap, so where we are going with this unified commerce platform. And then we're going to take a Q&A session. But feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar, even if we have a Q&A session at the end. All right. Retail has changed more in the last 5 years than in the previous 25. So it's a bit of an exaggeration because the changes of the last 25 years have been ongoing, you know, the internet, smartphones, interconnected systems. But really what's changed in the last 5 years is the crystallization of the expectations that consumers have from us, right? 20 years ago, the internet was a fad. Some of you would say is a joke. I hope it was a joke. But nowadays, it's part of our everyday life. And the expectations that brings of being always available, always correct, having all of your products available in every channel, they're just so much more important. So that's what we mean by that. So why are we even going down this unified commerce path? It's because every conversation we've had with retailers over the years, we've had the same pain points, and all of you have the same pain points. You have siloed systems. You have a payment gateway that doesn't speak to your e-commerce platform, that isn't the same payment gateway as your point of sale. Then you have workflow software to track your jobs, production software. This leads to multiple portals, multiple processes, multiple screens and systems. It leads to the manual entry, manual double, sometimes triple entry of orders in your e-commerce, your point of sale, your ERP, your accounting software. And then there's just, you know, the missed revenue opportunities had in all these systems. If they're not speaking to each other, your product isn't live on your website, you're not showing all the services you offer, and you're not maximizing the revenue that you can go get from these services and products you offer. What have we tried and what have you tried before? I mean, we've tried treating online, treating mobile, treating in-store as separate channels. That hasn't worked. Your customers don't accept that anymore. Some of you have tried building enterprise sites. Some of you have tried different API connectors, Channel Advisor, Utilize, Salesforce come to mind. We've tried and we've helped you work through various API connections to connect your point of sale to your e-commerce. So for those of you that are on PhotoWare, we have that CSV line connector. For those of you that are on Profit Line or Windward, we've been pushing orders through to the POS, LabLogix as well. And then we've tried full-on partnerships with some of these platforms. So many of you are on Lightspeed Series R, and we have a full suite of integrations for Lightspeed Series R. And even then it leads to issues with data sanitization and order entry and just the chaos that comes from having two systems. So what do we mean by unified commerce? What do we mean by a reimagined point of sale? So in our vertical of camera and photo, it means that we have built-in support for the e-commerce web store, for the online photo solution, for kiosk orders in one platform, instead of having your online system, your kiosk system, your e-commerce system, and your point of sale. We say real-time inventory sync for those of you that do hardware, but it's so much more than that. It's one inventory. So there's no syncing process. There's no connection process. It's just one source of truth for everything you sell in store. All of your channels, in-store pickup, shipping, local delivery, all of that is wrapped into one nice package instead of being able to offer one set of channels in store and one set of channels online. One customer profile, all customer history, purchase history in one area, and then just ease of staff onboarding. I mean, imagine you get a staff member and they have one login and they have one system to learn instead of having to learn all of the systems you currently have in store. Bringing students in for the holidays becomes a lot more palatable. Part-time help becomes more palatable. It's less stressful when you have to replace someone. All of that, and then the benefits, better decisions from better data, faster service to your customers, faster information, fewer mistakes, and all of this leads to what business owners love to hear: lower cost of ownership, lower operational costs. A big part of this is that we finally partnered with the payment platform instead of just recommending 8. So we call it dakisPay. I actually forgot their logo on this slide, but we offer dakisPay through Global Payments Integrated. They're our official partner. We also work through dakisPay with ClearSale, who are an insurance provider. They're an anti-fraud tool that will guarantee orders. That's obviously more important for the camera stores than the printers. There's much more fraud in cameras than in printing. And the benefits there is that we don't get in the way of the relationship with the payment provider. Even if we're billing it as dakisPay, the relationship is between yourself and Global Payments Integrated. You can get transparent IC plus pricing without surprises. In the product demo, you're going to see that you can do authorizations, captures, refunds, partial refunds directly in the platform, be it from an online sale or an in-store sale. Same system for the POS, for the web store, for the online photo solution. So it's one merchant ID, one MID. So you're not going through multiple portals. Specifically, if you have multiple stores, you're not going through multiple portals. Yeah, and then a whole bunch of different benefits from there. Apple Pay in store and online. One area for support, so you can contact support at Dakis. We can help you with the level 1 stuff, and then if it's a harder thing to solve, we can accompany you to their support. Right. So before unified commerce, this is how I imagine most of you spend your days, just scratching your head. Not really, but it's a good little illustration.
Metaphorically.
And then after unified commerce, we want to make some happy retailers with all of your important business logic in that one platform: the payments, the online photo solution, the e-commerce, the products, the services, fraud protection, the customer journey, the CRM, all of that good stuff in one platform.
Yep. The sum of all parts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what makes us different? Well, everyone in this webinar right now is in the photo or the camera industry. So are we, and we have been for 20 years now. That's a long time. And that actual graphic depicts my first day at Dakis. You can see I was a quite young man.
Two-dimensional.
Two-dimensional. I'm three-dimensional and fully grown now. So that 20 years in the industry is huge, because we understand the challenges of the photo specialty retailer, of the photo camera retailer. You know, when we maybe accidentally fell into this industry, we didn't suspect that it was probably one of the most complex retail industries on the market. I mean, you guys do new products, serialized products, you do consignment goods, used goods, you do various repair services, you offer classes, you do print on demand services, which is kind of custom manufacturing. And I mean, that doesn't even touch the entire list of what you do, right? What makes us different? One support team for all the parts, one point of contact. I pointed it out. We've been in it for 20 years, and you know, what's 20 more?
40.
Yeah, correct. That's 40 years. And for most of us, that would be a career, but we'll keep going after that. And one of the big changes in the last year is we were acquired by Axio Harris Computers. So we now have better resources to ensure that we can keep going. Yeah. That's what makes us different.
That's what makes us different, yeah. And we are passionate about the product that we're building too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. You might think that I rushed through that a little bit. That's because we have some stuff to show.
Yep.
A product demo. So these are the sections we're going to look at. We're going to look at the new merchandise pages and what that changes and what's cool out of those. We're going to look at the customer CRM. We're going to do a quick demo of a film integration, how Ryan did that for a customer, order creation, purchase and refund flow, and something I forgot there, even just opening a register when you get in and start the day.
Yeah, I just want to take a second here. Please don't be shy to leave some questions here. We're going to address them later on. No one's asked anything so far, so I'm guessing either Patricia's very clear or y'all being a little shy. So don't worry. We'll answer your questions later on in the webinar.
Okay. So when we started talking about unified commerce and the POS, and whenever I do a demo in person, retailers get a little confused because I log into the My Dakis, and that is specifically the point. This entire platform lives in the My Dakis. So over the last few years, you've seen us revamp certain pages, modernize certain pages, and that's been accelerating lately. And when we say unified commerce on one platform, we mean what we used to refer to as the My Dakis will become that hub of your retail operations, hopefully. So you've probably noticed already when you log in, there's a new welcome page that shows you today's sales, today's orders, and then has different points of information. One thing I'm going to point out is that I am logged in to the My Dakis as an owner, as a store owner. So I see absolutely all of the options. For time constraints, I'm not going to log in as a clerk and log in as the different access levels, but they do all exist. So we do have different access levels for your different staff members. So I'll try to point out things that are available to more advanced roles and what's not available to other roles. So when we talk about point of sale, we're talking about cash registers. So the first thing we do normally when we come in the day is we're going to start the cash register. We're going to open it up. I'm in a multi-store setup here. I'm currently at the Dakis head offices. I'm at the main cash register, and I'm using this payment terminal. And then I can also say what my cash flow to start the day is. Now, we technically have a register open on this computer. The register is now locked to this computer. So if somebody tried to open this specific register on another system, it would not be available. Okay, and just to show you something real quick, there's a list of all the different cash registers. So if you can, so you can see if your different stores have started up for the day, if all the cash registers are started, and then if for any reason there's a cash register open on the wrong computer, you can actually go close them out here. So I'm just going to back out of that. Now, when we're talking about a point of sale and cash registers, I guess the most basic of transactions is processing a sale, right? So at this point, we can click on create order. Create order, I accessed it directly from the home screen. Some of you may have seen this order already from the orders page, where you can also create an order from here. This is a page that already exists in the My Dakis, so most of you can actually go right now and build an order in your My Dakis. The big difference is you won't have that Pay Now button, but you will have that Save and Send button that allows you to create an order and send it out as a quote. Right. That being said, the main features here, in our industry, we obviously aren't selling packs of gum, so we like to get the customer information. By default, in this account, the contact information is a guest customer. I can go ahead and remove that and then just add a customer to this sale. You can add a customer by first name, by last name, by email, by phone number. All of those are searchable. And if the customer does not exist, you can create them on the fly as well. So I've gone ahead and added myself to the sale. By default, when you do get into create order, you're on this search bar. I don't have a barcode scanner here, but obviously I could scan barcodes if we're talking about selling a product.
Yeah, and you can scan SKU, you can scan UPC, just show up there and be easy to search. Yeah. And
then you can scan, you can search for products in this manner. I'm going to go and add a camera. We can go and add multiple products. There's no real point in showing that right now. And then because I am a manager and owner, there's certain features that are available to me. I can add an order discount. So this would put a discount on the entire order. It can be excluded from tax calculations. I can click on the item and add an item discount. I can even create a custom item on the fly. So if I needed to say, if Ryan was trying to sell me a mug.
Yeah, I like that mug that's on the counter, I want it.
Pay $20 for that, I want one. It's, we'll pick a brand that exists. It's a Canon product. And then you can choose where in your account that goes. We're gonna put that in miscellaneous camera accessories. And not only have I created that item for the point of sale, but the item is in the cart as well. Basic feature of a cash register, we want customers to pay. We go to Pay Now. There are different payment methods that are shown here. There's cash payment, Interact Transfer Check, which are what we call custom payment methods that are unconnected. So if somebody were to write you a check, you could come here and just select check for accounting purposes. And then there's we call it dakisPay, and my terminal name was USA for the American terminal, because we're also testing with the Canadian devices. So if I were to click on that, it would send the sale directly to the payment terminal, to the global payment integrated terminal, and the sale would be registered there. What we're going to do, just for the demo purposes, is we're going to put this as a cash sale. By default, you can actually do split payments in the register, or you can do the full payment at once. A little tool to help calculate how much change, and then we can complete the payment. The receipt can be emailed, it can be printed. I'm going to do neither right now. For now, we're still on the transaction, and we're one click away from going back to orders and starting a new transaction.
I had an interesting conversation with someone at IPIC, and they were asking me, what do we do in a situation where someone will send me images from Dropbox?
Okay.
Right. So we went over the options, and we realized that we can take those images from a Dropbox, and then we can start a print and order with them through our online photo solution, through the Photominator, not complete it, find the order inside of the POS setting, assign a user to it, and then send that person who sent us the Dropbox links. We can send that person essentially completed printing order, and all they have to do is input their credit card information after and finish the transaction. And I thought those are pretty cool on off the cuff feature.
That's an interesting way to use the save and send.
Yep, exactly.
What we call the quote feature.
Yep.
So you can prepare the order for them from emailed files from Dropbox, even if they leave you a USB key that you want to deal with later on, and you don't know how many files are on there. I guess you can do it directly in the online photo solution, and then
exactly. So the online post is even a quote, right?
Like send them the quote, have them pay, and then you have that freedom.
And then on top of that, the order goes into your job download, which is cool.
Yep, definitely very clever use of that save and send, Ryan. So now here we are on the order page that we've just taken cash money for, as we can see here. At any time we can reprint the receipt, email the receipt. If it was to be a shipped order, we could add tracking information. Obviously, this one is not. And then there's different transaction actions here. So you'll notice that we have actions that are really on the payment of the order. So no matter if this were a PayPal online order, if it were a global payments dakisPay online order, global payment dakisPay in-store order, cash, or any other payment method, you have different actions you can do directly on the payment. Obviously, in this case, because it's cash payment, void transaction does nothing. But in the case of a credit card transaction, you can separate the authorization from the capture, and then you could just void a transaction either because you're afraid of fraud, because you're out of stock, because you don't want to ship out the only camera body you have and you bought no accessories. I don't mind why you would void a transaction, but you can. And the advantage there by voiding is that you're not paying the transaction fees, that IC Plus portion of that transaction fee. And then if this were an authorized transaction, you could capture it here as well, directly in the My Dakis. There's 3 types of refunds. You can refund an item itself. So if we click here, I can choose which item I want to refund, right? You can refund the entire order. So that'll refund absolutely everything, taxes, shipping, all of the items on it. Or you can refund just an amount on the order. So let's say you ship a camera and they're displeased that it's scratched and you want to offer them a 10% discount or something like that. You can do that way. Just a really important thing about the refund amount, because that's already in the My Dakis, it's that the refund amount, you do not add taxes to what you want to refund. The system will recalculate the taxes. So if you want to offer somebody $15 off, taxes included, figure out the amount before tax. Actually, just figure out how much you want to offer them as a refund, and then the tax implications will work themselves out. Okay. So like Ryan was saying, he had mentioned you can create an order online. You can come find it here, and then you can do a save and send. So this page has been out for a bit of time, but we're going to go over it real quick as well, because there's some interesting stuff that we noticed retailers aren't using. First of all, the search tool, we can obviously search by order ID. We can search by name, we can search by email, we can search by customer phone number. Those are the obvious ones, but you can actually search by the line items that are in the cart. So I had just put I believe a Canon camera in the cart, and there you go, I found my cart. You can search by printing order numbers. So for those of you that do a lot of OPS sales or kiosk sales, you can search by printing order number. That'll bring up the order. And those are some very powerful search tools. And then there's the filters, okay? The filters, some of them are obvious and are expected. I want to see my orders for a certain date range. I want to see orders that have hard goods, prints, gifts, those different types. And I'll invite you to explore these because some of them are very interesting. We're order status, okay? So I've created different little workflows for my orders, for my services that my orders can filter through. And interestingly enough, one of the things I'm going to show you is our next iteration of the workflows later, but this is how you can use it right now. You can create custom statuses that are linked to emails that will trigger off. And these custom statuses can be updated directly in the order list here. They can be updated in the order here. And like I said, they can be connected to what we call customer journey emails, which will be sent out to the retailer, to the customer, I mean, as you update the statuses. And then one of the ones that's interesting for instant rebates is that you can search by order type and you can bring in all of your orders that have an instant rebate. So all of your orders that have, in Canada, we call them sell-throughs, we don't call them instant rebates. In the US, we call them instant rebates. And then you can do double duty on that. You can say, I want to see just my Canon instant rebates, my ProMaster instant rebates. So you can really actually quickly create custom reports, because that CSV export button will really only export what you've filtered. So if you need to generate a report of all your instant rebate sales, it's actually pretty quick to do that without even having a specific report. I was talking about the order statuses. That's something else that has been brought into the MyDakis recently. So you can see here, I've gone and created my different order statuses for film and for canvas, and you can see the attached email template. I've even gone and attached email templates to some of these statuses. And then obviously you can create your custom email templates. That's still in the legacy MyDakis system, but that exists as well. The next area that I wanted to show you is also an area that we brought in earlier this year, but we never took the time to properly introduce it. It's the customer profiles, or really the mini CRM, if you will. So in the new customer area, again, we lead that section with a really powerful search. You can find your customers by name, email, phone number, whatever else is attached to it. But you can also filter by tag. So you can go ahead and create tags for your customers. So if you have institutional customers, you can create a tag for that institution or for that business, and then you can group your customers that way. You can even see customers by location. So if you want to try to see geographically where you're performing, you can find customers by location. What's very interesting here is that you don't just have customers from the online platform, you also have customers from the in-store platform. And you don't just have customers that have created an account. You have customers that haven't created an account. All that information is here. So if you look at the registered users, those are customers that have created an account. But then again, similarly to that orders page, you have these filters here. Okay. If I want to see a customer account that is an offline account, so a customer that hasn't created an account, I can filter for that. And then I can go and I can send him or her, them, log in so that they can create their password and have an order right there. Okay. The very interesting part of the customer profile, and because I'm in a demo account, I don't know which one would have sales. So I guess Louis, who used to work for us, has some. So you can see their total orders, their lifetime spent, average order. These orders here, down here, are his unpaid carts. So you can see a customer's open carts.
Louis is not very decisive.
Louis is not very decisive, correct. If he had some paid carts, these numbers would reflect it. You can have access to that user's carts here. And you can have access, interestingly, for those of you that are using the online photo solutions, to their saved projects as well. So if they had photo books in process, if they had printing orders in process, all that information is there. And then, like I was mentioning before, you have all of those tags that you can create from here and then even add to the customer from there. I had another section to show, Ryan. Which one was it? I think it was the merchandise page.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, that's actually the biggest one. I almost forgot the biggest one. So you're going to notice something, though, as I've navigated from orders to customers to hardware, is that these pages are rather similar. And that's because we've we've improved, I think, it's standardizing our interface, standardizing where the actions are, standardizing the different components that you interact with. And that's a very good thing because it makes for more predictable software. So again, in this section, we lead with a powerful search. You can search by partial names. You can search by partial SKUs, partial UPCs. So part searches work very, very well here, and they will find your product. One important thing, and this is new since we launched this section, and because we are working towards the unified commerce, you'll notice in this section you have products that are archived. That's something that did not exist in the previous version. In the previous versions, you had a delete button. In this version, you have an archive button. In practice, they do the same thing, except we actually show you what's archived in the new version. This allows you to go and get products that you might have stopped carrying and want to bring back, and you don't lose the history and you don't lose all the rest of the information. Again, the same type of filtering that that was available in the other categories are here. You can filter by brand, tag, product category, by promotions that are there. Imported custom is the one that you might not see in other systems. Imported would be an item that you brought in from our database. Custom would be an item that you made yourself. And then something that's very, very useful that didn't exist as well in the previous version, that new products period. You can search for products that were imported or created today, imported or created last week or last month. That really just helps for your management. And then obviously, like I was talking about, publishing archive. You can filter by publishing archive right here. What's important to know, that published status does not mean that it's available on the web. It means it's available in your store. Okay, for an item to be available on the web, for a hard good item to be available on the web, those availability check marks that make available online is still there. But this leads Ryan to an interesting possibility, because one of the things that wasn't possible with the save and send before, when you were creating an order and creating a quote, is that you weren't able to have a customer pay for an in-store item without it showing up on the website. You had to publish it on the website for a customer to be able to check out. Nowadays, we've changed that. So if an item is published but not available online, you can add it to a custom cart. You can send it to a consumer via email, and they can check out online an item that was available just in store before. So that allows you to do things like collect full amounts on pre-orders without necessarily making the camera available online, or various other custom quotes where you wouldn't want that line item to show up on your website.
Yeah, I had someone bring this up to me the other day, saying that like they have a couple of hot selling cameras, right? And as soon as they put it online, they'll get gobbled up right away. And it's possible that they may have had a customer who had been waiting for this, but since they made it available online, it got just purchased without.
So going through your wait list, this makes going through your wait list and sending them custom quotes, and then having that go through your fraud protection through ClearSale and making sure it's all valid. So that's a great thing. And then it'll go into your instant rebate reports if it has an instant rebate in that period and things like that. So that's a very, very powerful tool. Now, keeping on with that new section, you're going to notice that the add product, for those of you that sell cameras, the import product has changed. We don't force you to go into a category anymore. You can search in the entire catalog without needing to know where an item is. So you can just come here and start scanning UPCs, and the descriptions will pop up.
Exactly. I've tried it.
If that doesn't work, you can look by brand, you can look by category like you did before, but you don't need to be in the category to import the items, which is a big, big change. And speaking of looking by UPC, we've made available some types of imports that weren't available before to retailers. The first one is import by UPC. So this allows you to create a CSV file. And there's a sample of it right here. You know what? I'll download it. I'm just going to open that up. It's going to be a very boring Excel sheet. because there's nothing in it, but it's essentially just the headers. So you can pop in your various UPCs here, your regular price, your sale price, and your SKU, and that'll populate your website.
Yeah.
You'll go grab the descriptions by UPC and populate the website. So if you're bringing in a new line, and recently we had a retailer bringing in earth bags, and what he did is he took that vendor catalog, put the UPCs in there, and then the products mostly showed up.
Yeah, I'll take this opportunity here. Like when a new customer comes on board with Dakis, they're often intimidated by that process.
Yeah.
With the process of adding thousands of SKUs, like, oh, do I have to go in and add them one by one? How am I going to do it? I've activated new accounts simply by using that spreadsheet, right? By grabbing the UPCs, your regular price, and the SKU. And then, like, I mean, within an hour or two, that account has a complete inventory and they're ready to sell, right?
Yeah.
And pending payment methods and shipping gets set up as well, but you can do that while your stuff is being added.
And we've had questions on how are you going to onboard us to the unified commerce? How are you going to get all those product descriptions? This is a question that comes by more for retailers that aren't using our e-commerce. And that's probably the main way we're going to do it, by creating that spreadsheet. We'll help you with that. We have services to help onboard you. We're not going to make you do that by yourself. And that's one of the ways we're going to do it. And then there's also different features that we added that weren't available before. The create a product right here.
Yeah. Really cool for you.
You don't have to go to the webpage anymore to make products. You can create products directly in this screen. We are aiming to make it so that no retailer has to go into the old style webpage anymore. If Horace, Frank, and Saul are listening, it's still going to exist for you guys, so that you can make those products for all of the retailers, but retailers themselves will no longer need to go into webpage very soon. And now, if we look at an individual item as well, so we've brought in most of the features that existed in the previous version. We've gone and done that. We've added a few features as well. You'll notice there's a sale end date, and that's a new one. We've always had dates for instant rebates and dates for things like that, but a sale end date is new. So I was talking about that Google merchant section is a little simpler. You can simply block items from Google now. And that's one of the things we've released recently. We've updated our Google Shopping integration to use live feeds, and that gives you some better results with the Google integration. Other items that are worth noticing here, you have full access over the images, the specifications, the descriptions of the products. Those are things you didn't have access to before when you were creating custom items there. The media, the video, the specifications. This is great when you're creating custom items, and it's great when you're creating the used items as well, because you can get much faster than you could with the system before. One of the things that we are adding support for as well, and this is a work in progress, is we are in fact adding weight and size for product dimensions for shipping purposes. We started adding that to all the products we add to the database. We're not going to go back in time, but as we move forward, we're going to have more and more information on that, so that we're going to be able to do live shipping integrations for you much more easily. And then other items we've added to the product. Product history. This product hasn't been changed in a while, but in this area, you can see all the different updates that have happened to a product. If they were updated by a corporate sync, for those of you that are using the photo source pricing, if the IRs were updated and when they were updated, if you're doing a managed instant rebate program, or just if somebody on your staff modified the pricing. So, like I was saying, this product might be a little bit boring, like Louis was a boring customer, but you can see the purchase history of an item, the total amount spent, the total that was refunded, and then you actually have access to every single cart here. That would have been a little bit more fun with a product that has sales, but this being a demo account, there aren't any. I think that wraps up the product demos I wanted to do today.
Okay, well, we have questions. So shall we get to the questions? All right.
Sure.
So Mike was asking if we can operate the point of sale on an iPad.
Is Mike in Canada or the US?
Mike is in the USA.
All right, Mike. The answer is yes. It's obviously a smaller screen real estate than a full screen. So there might be some sections that won't be as good. Noticeably, the merchandise section is pretty big, so I'd say that one might be harder on a POS. But creating a sale, taking payment, all of those things are definitely available on an iPad. Now, the reason I ask that distinction about if you are in the US or Canada is because there is a distinction with how the payment terminals work in both countries. So in the US, all features are available from an iPad. There's no issue there. And in Canada, you lose the ability to process Interac. So in Canada, for now, I would say you need a Windows PC with a browser.
Okay.
Or you lose Interac functionality.
But it's cool too. Like, I mean, that gives you that Apple Store feel, right?
Correct.
Where you're walking around with the iPads and
Correct.
getting transactions. I like that.
And actually, Mike, what's important to know as well is that payment gateway terminal doesn't need to be connected to the iPad. It needs to be connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be on the counter. It can be Wi-Fi enabled, and you walk around with it like in a restaurant. As long as when you start to register, you tell it which payment terminal you want it to go to, there's no problem there.
Okay, this leads to a slightly related question from Andres.
Andreas.
No, Andres.
Oh, Andres.
Yeah. Is the software web-based or an application database that lives on the computer?
It is web-based. It is a fully cloud-based system.
Right. Anything else you wish to add?
That's the answer to the question.
I wouldn't have added anything else either.
I mean, I understand the question, and if we were 10 years ago, I'd say it was a more valid concern, because I think that question comes from a place of concern for data security, things like that. One of the things that's important to know is you probably saw in a lot of the screens that there's some exports. So at any time you can export your data, your inventory, be it your pricing, be it your customer data, your customer history. So you still own that data. You will have access to it, so there's no problem there. And from a data availability standpoint, I mean, we do regular backups.
Yeah, I have a question that I know the answer to already, but I'll ask it to you to be cute. Let's say the internet goes down in my store. What do I do?
Sure. So that's a valid concern as well. The My Dakis and Unified Commerce point of sale aren't very demanding bandwidth-wise. So what we've historically recommended is to use your phone as a hotspot. Yeah. I mean, if your internet goes down, Verizon decides it's not happy today, and your store internet goes down, you can run the entire system off of your hotspot, which actually opens up other possibilities where you can do an extra store and an extra register for like your tent sale outside. Mm-hmm. Or if you're doing a pop-up kiosk, you don't need to have a big live local setup. So if you're doing a pop-up kiosk or a tent sale outside, bring the iPad.
It gives you a certain level of mobility.
Correct.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Another follow-up question of mine. You mentioned selling to Canada, or using the POS in Canada, using the POS in USA. What about Europe?
So in Europe, you would have no integrated payment partner for now. That would be the one main downside. By integrated payment partner, I mean, whereas if you were to make a sale on the payment and you click, I want them to pay by credit card, that amount shows up directly on the terminal. And then the answer comes back. So you would still be able to use it in Europe, but with an unconnected payment partner. So you would have to type in the payment on the PIN pad, have the customer pay, and then come back to the screen and go, that order was paid. We do have plans to have an integrated payment partner in Europe, but we will reveal that when we are ready.
Cool. I'm done with my questions. We'll go back to another one of Mike's questions.
Okay.
All right. How do I sync the sales with my QuickBooks General Ledger?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. It's one we're going to be spending more time on to get a better answer for you later on. But at this time right now, you can export all of today's transactions, all of the payment transactions, and all of the shopping cart transactions in a CSV file, which you can then send to QuickBooks. You might have a little bit more work afterwards. And we do have plans early next year to look at automatically generating the different accounting ledgers in the formats required by QuickBooks, and I believe Sage are the ones we are looking at. Mostly QuickBooks. I think 90% of our customers are on QuickBooks now, which is holy penetration rate, Batman, for QuickBooks with small business.
Good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them. All right. Question from Ruben. Is this platform able to apply commission to cashiers? Also, can it adjust different levels of commissions for different products and services?
That is a great question, Ruben. Today, it can. But we've worked out how we want to do spiffs, because that's what they're usually called, commissions. We call them spiffs. I don't know if it's every industry or just the photo industry or the camera industry, but that is a feature that is coming very soon. It's a feature we've discussed, we've sort of planned it out, and we had more questions for retailers. But the way we had planned it out was that the best way I can explain it for someone that knows our system is similar to how we do the shipping, where you can do a global spiff level, a spiff level by category, and then even a spiff level by individual. Is how we're going to permit that. We're going to introduce the feature.
Why don't you kill the share screen so we can ask?
I did.
Talk to the people. Did? All right, cool. Good stuff. All right. From Mike, different Mike. When selling a camera, can you choose a serial number from an inventory list?
That is a early 2026 feature, to choose a serial number from a list. It's on the roadmap.
Okay. And then a bunch of questions saying that our audio was gone. Hold on.
Yeah, we had some audio issues. I do understand that.
I got some more though. Okay. Are you able to import customers the same way by uploading the CSV file? This is a question from Mark.
100%. 100%. I didn't show it in the customer page, but yes, you can. You can import them, create them, and modify them from a CSV.
And if you want to create an RUA for these people, you could send an invitation, right? And they can create a registered user account.
And actually, if you have a customer that has an account, if you have a customer that's in a point of sale and they go create an account with that email, their information will become available in their account, their existing information. So you won't have to republish them.
Okay. So that was a question from Mark with a C. This is Mark with a K. What about inventory management, such as min, max, and creating POs?
So creating POs is something I'm going to show a sneak peek of, not the POs themselves, but I'm going to show the vendor management. PO creation is an offshoot of that. Again, for all of the vendor and purchase orders, we're looking at early 2026 to work on that. Can they see us, or are they seeing my screen?
I think they're seeing your screen.
Oh,
yeah.
Hold on. I want to stop the.
Hey, there we are. Hi, people.
There you go. That's much, much better.
Cool.
So I'm going to show a sneak peek of that right after the questions. I figured after the demo was a good time for questions. So I'm going to show a sneak peek of the vendors, the purchase ordering. We don't have a sneak peek of that yet, but we're going to have min-max reordering and automatic purchase order creation from that. Correct.
Okay, I have a couple more. You've all woken up. This is nice. All right. Does the POS system generate bag order labels?
So that's actually something I commented on the IPI forums a bit earlier. I replying to Paul Storage.
That's from Paul.
Oh, well, we're going to create the bag order labels you want because we're using your format. So that is coming. And we're going to show a sneak peek of the designs our UI UX designer, Tanya, made of workflows, which you might find interesting as well.
Okay. Another question from Paul. What about house charge, monthly billed accounts?
So are those accounts that you want to invoice once a month and run on a credit card? Or do you want to just have them build negative store credit and then be able to charge them?
How about, Paul, why don't you get back to me in the
Yeah.
private chat, and then we'll address that question after, okay?
Because it generates many questions for me.
Yeah.
Because that is something on the roadmap, to be able to tokenize a credit card and then just bill a customer, or to be able to just create a monthly invoice. And that's
Okay. Andres, with the concern more than anything else, so with no internet, the entire system goes down. I mean, not necessarily.
well,
Tethered to your phone.
no. If your phone has no internet, if your store has no internet, then correct, the system goes down. But at the same time, you probably not be able to process payments anymore because payments terminals go through the internet. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that wouldn't work. Yeah, so correct, but that's not as much of a concern as it used to be.
I have another question from Paul S. Okay, what about sales tax reports?
That already exists. That's already in the current reports. Obviously, you're in California, and it's a mixed destination state for things you ship out. So you can get tax reports by county, by tax jurisdiction, by tax name. That already exists. And then for those of you that have more advanced tax concerns, those of you that have multiple nexuses, multiple locations, we have an Avalara integration, which works quite well. Not only does it do the sales tax calculation at checkout, it prepares your tax reporting for all of those jurisdictions. Colorado, Louisiana are some of those complicated states. So for those of you that have advanced tax concerns, we have advanced solutions for that as well. And for Paul's question about the tax reports, it already generates that. We just have to show you that.
Okay, I think this is a question from Jean-Charles. Hello, Jean-Charles. And I think it's related to what Mike was talking about earlier. Does this software include full accounting feature, which I'm guessing is exporting?
Again, it doesn't include full accounting feature today. It is on the roadmap for us to allow you to create ledgers, to associate your ledger entries with categories, to associate your ledger entries with purchases, with tax, with all the different areas. But until we do the purchasing module, and until we're a little further down our roadmap of releases, the full accounting won't be there just yet.
Okay. Another question, how many terminals can we run at the same time? 3 salespeople writing orders at the same time.
So the way we are selling the unified commerce, we are not going to limit the amount of registers, we call them registers, you might call them terminals, that you have. This is going to give you the flexibility to add a few more terminals. Again, if you have events, if you have tent sales, pop-up sales, if you grow your store, you'll be able to just add new terminals. You'll be able to do that yourself without even having to contact us or renegotiate a deal or anything like that. And then as far as how many payment terminals, that again will be up to you and Global. What's interesting is you can have multiple registers running on one payment terminal. You obviously have to be careful not to send transactions at the same time. So if you have your sales staff walking around with iPads, they can each have an actual register and then share a payment terminal if they want. I wouldn't recommend running a whole store off of one payment terminal and 20 registers. There's a better mix than that, but we're not limiting you to how many you can use.
Lauren asks, does this come with hardware? Is this the same view that would be at the register?
We're not in the hardware business, either in terminals or computers or printers. We've designed this to work with off-the-shelf hardware as much as possible, and we will help guide you into what you need. But all of this should work with everything you already have. Your receipt printers, your computers, your iPads. The only thing we're going to have to take a look at is the payment terminals with Global.
Is it possible to upload CSV for hardware products with a scheduled delay above 6 days? Is it possible to have more details when there's an error after upload of CSV for hardware products?
Okay, so the 6 days, I'm not sure. I'll check. I don't see a technical limitation. Maybe we just don't allow it because I know you can schedule in advance. As far as the errors, we've been getting better in the last few years. Whenever you upload a CSV, be it customers, be it products, be it pricing, be it creating products, you get a downloadable file back after the process, and you get a message line by line for what happened to that line in the CSV file. We're not 100% there. Some of the error messages could use improvement, but it's much better than it was last year, and much better next year than it is now. So if you have some specific examples you want to share with us, send those through, and we'll improve those messages for you.
All right. Yeah. Another question, how do you track employee order entries and which employee cashed out a customer?
That is assigned to the sale at the moment of the sale. And then we even have a workflow, if you will, where you can reassign different jobs to people, which we're going to take a look at in a bit. And I guess I forgot to show that in the POS demo because I was logged in myself. But at any moment in that POS screen, you can switch user. You can hot seat the user, and then another user can log in and take control of that register.
Cool. Another question, Paul. You have a lot of questions. That's good. So credit card terminal is built into the system. Can you have an external or in-store that is connected somehow?
So in-store, again, the connected terminal is through Global Payments Integrated. We're going to hold off on supporting more because it's a lot of work and a lot of support. But you can have your own terminal that is not connected where you do manual entry. So if you want a backup terminal or if you want a different payment method, that can work.
Okay. A couple more questions. Mike sent me something. At an event, can you use a cell or an iPad? We covered that.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. 100%.
Yeah. And the question of all questions: when can I get this and get rid of my old point of sale system?
All right. So that question is now, as long as your business fits into where we are currently. So schedule a call. Email sales at dakis or have Ryan take a number and we'll have a call with you and we'll see if your business is ready now or if we are ready for your business, depending on how you want to view that. Obviously, I'm going to be showing vendor management. If you need integrated purchasing, then you're looking at early next year. If you don't need that, you might be able to get going right away.
Yep. So Mike, we'll have a call.
Yep.
All right. I think we're good to carry on.
Okay.
Thank you for the questions. That was awesome.
Yeah. Can you see the screen yet?
Yep.
Okay. So this is something, like I said, we haven't done often before. I'm going to be showing you, we're going to be going through mockups because it's more interesting that way of what we want to do. I'm going to show you 3 different features. I'm going to show you workflows, which are super interesting. I'm going to show you vendor management, which is super interesting because it's important, but kind of looks like the merchandise page. And then I'm going to show you one thing that just came back from the feedback that we had at the different trade shows,
cool.
Which is going to be interesting enough. So this is workflows. And again, the only people who've seen this are Tanya, who's done it, Manu, who worked with her on it, and myself, who's seen it. And all of you are seeing it for the first time now. So what you're seeing here is actually our UI UX design software. It's called Adobe XD. That's not the interesting part. What's in the middle of the screen is more interesting. You're going to notice right away here, there's different columns, right? If you've ever used product management software, modern product management software, or if you've ever done a Trello board, you'll recognize what this looks like because it's what's called a Kanban board. It's how software engineers plan their work, but it's also how most modern planning software plan their work. So this is how we want you to start managing your service jobs. or hardware orders, or print orders, or really any type of order that has a flow, that has a due date, that has an assigned staff member or department to do the work, right? So here we're in a specific view where we can see how the jobs are progressing. Obviously, there's a lot of lorem ipsum in here.
It's the best ipsum.
It's the best ipsum, but we're going to use our imagination a bit. So what we're envisioning for the workflows here is that these labels are going to be customizable. So it's not going to be to do, in progress, done. If you have a film workflow, it could be ready to scan, ready to process, dipped and dunked, all the different all the different statuses and waypoints in that flow. If it's a repair job, you'll be able to say, we took the item and it's awaiting shipment to Chris or to whoever does your repairs. You'll be able to categorize that. An assigned staff member, a due date here, various things that help you realize what you need to do. This is just a little bit more the same view, but to show you what it looks like when it overflows. How you'll be able to scroll in those individual columns. And then just an explanation quickly of what the color scheme means for the due dates. So, everything that isn't a rush, things that are coming up, things that are overdue, done. So just a quick indication on how that'll work. Then if we go here into a different view for work jobs, apparently it's not liking that. So here is a less granular view. So in this screen here, we were looking at one of our workflows. You'll be able to create multiple workflows for all of your services. This is the page where you can see all of them. Again, the same type of clues, when things are due, what status they're in, who's assigned to them. And then you have all the filtering that'll allow you to find the jobs by assignment, by due date, by type, by job status. So again, this page kind of looks like some of the other pages I showed you. We're reusing those same components, reusing those same paradigms to help you navigate that. And lastly, what a workflow looks like in an order detail. So here we are in an order. And the things that we want to be able to do is we want an order to be able to automatically create a workflow or a job, as we call it here. Essentially, what we want you to be able to do is on every type of product or service or printing item or a photo factory item, no matter what exists in the dakis, we want you to be able to automatically assign a status of a workflow as that order is checked out. So if you sell film development in the POS or online, automatically it would trigger that first status for that work job for that item. Or if you sell canvas, then it would create that first status of that flow for that item. So it's something that's going to help manage essentially all of your long-term, I don't want to say commitments, but your long-term flows, right? And then just a little bit more information here. We also want you to be able to start a workflow from an item in the eventuality that you haven't added an automation. So if you have an item in a cart or a service in a cart and there's no workflow created automatically, you can go and create one and assign it to that item in the shopping cart. So that's a project that we are starting on. We've done the initial mockups, we've done the initial analysis, and we have developers starting on that within a week or two. So that's one of the big items that's coming up. I'm going to ask this again later on, but I'm going to ask it now. If you are interested in giving us feedback about workflows, jobs, service orders, You can write sales@dakis.com, or you can write the Fuse email if you still have that, and I'm going to show it later on, to tell us that you are interested in participating in that with us. Yeah.
Okay, Lori was asking, will we be doing this webinar again? You want to see it, but she thought it would last an hour. Lori, we are recording the webinar. We'll make it available to everybody.
So I will wish you a good day. You can check out the rest later.
Yep.
And
we'll send out a follow-up e-blast with invitation to view it. Yep.
Okay. Something that we are working on actively right now. It's for release next year, but again, we'll show you the mock-ups. So it's just vendor management. So just to give you a quick idea of what that'll look like. So again, creating your vendors, importing vendors, that's going to look a lot like managing merchandise or managing orders. It's one of those list screens that are using the same powerful search feature, that same filtering. Here we can see what that will look like. We want you to be able to see how many active POs you have per vendor. We want you to be able to identify the vendor, filter through your vendors. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not sure how much more I can say there. You know, the different filters, where they are regionally, what currency they use, if they're active and inactive, what categories have items in them. So if you want to see which vendors you have, like area drones, things like that, all those filters will exist. Yeah, and this kind of gives you a sneak peek of how we plan out all the screens as well, right? Creating a new vendor here, something else that we're working on. And if you are a hardware-based business and you want to collaborate with us on this, same thing is for the workflows. Reach out to Fuse, reach out to sales, and we'll be happy to take all of your feedback even before the project is made, because this will help us align our software with your expectations, right? So creating a vendor, right? They'll be able to create your vendors and import them to the CSV file. And then similar to that customer history, similar to that product history, you'll be able to see the different spend you have with the vendor, the different POs you have with the vendor, and yeah. And then the actual vendor details when you're managing your vendor, what's going to be on that screen. So this is a more filled out version. So again, the POs that you have, the spend you have with them, the reps that they have, your contacts, all of that will be able to appear. Different documents that you'll be able to manage with your vendors. So if you have different deals, different instructions, different catalogs that you want to just save there. So we're really going to give you somewhere where you can manage all that information instead of managing it everywhere. You'll be able to enter what their typical payment terms are, what their freight costs are, various logistical information as well, mapping SKUs. So in our case, we don't have that product database. You'll be able to map which SKUs are on each vendor. And you'll be able to map the same SKU to multiple vendors if it's available from multiple sources as well. And then we'll be able to see the different log, modifying something for a vendor when you have a PO that comes up, you have a PO that came in. And then these are all the filters that we're going to create. We've been going a bit long. It might not be worth looking at each individual filter. Mind you, this gives you an idea of how we do design that section. And then the last quick sneak peek that I wanted to show you, something that came back from the trade shows. So one of the things that we heard in the trade shows is, I'm a high volume store. I can't search for my item and buy my items individually. I want to be able to just, create an order and say, these guys are ordering prints and I want to tap the screen and add a whole bunch of prints. We heard that for creating purchase orders as well. Somebody that was using Lightspeed, and they said every time I add an item to a purchase order, I have to scroll down to the bottom of the purchase order and edit the quantity, and then scroll back up and then add another item. So we call this the search model or the add to cart model, depending on what you want to call it. It's actually when you're adding an item to the cart, when you're scanning for UPC code, you'll also be able to have some preset favorites so that you can quickly have access to some items and add them to the cart. Or in the case of a purchase order, quickly add multiples of an item to a purchase order without having to go through it. So this is kind of what it looks like when you have nothing in it. This is what it looks like once you started adding items and change the quantity. This is what it looks like when you fail at searching. And then, you know, the different sub-mockups. So that's an improvement on that search we saw creating an order that allowed you to add items to cart. And I think the two people that I listened to for that were Renata, I think is on the call. Mm-hmm. So that's from one of your feedbacks, and also Brett at Madison Photo, who was talking about the purchase orders being efficient.
If you're ready for a question, I'll take one. I'll give you one. Well, we can wait till later.
Yeah. Let me.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Let's just keep going for a quick bit because we're almost at the final Q&A.
I hear you.
So we've been neglectful.
Have we
been doing many webinars lately?
No.
And you can tell because we had many audio issues, which we normally don't.
No, we didn't.
No. So we're gonna figure that part out, not do it again. And we want to have more webinars.
Yeah.
We want to have them more often and last less long. So we want to do more focused webinars going forward on specific set of features, specific areas, specific improvements,
group training.
Yeah. So one of the ways we want you to help, we had a focus group called Fuse before. We are not bringing it back because we never got rid of it. But if you are interested in giving us feedback either on the accounting portion, on vendors, on workflows, on serialized inventory, on any of those items, write us an email and we will add you to the focus groups. And we will send you questions when you don't know the answer. We will send you questions on what the best approach is because the software we're building it in partnership with you and for you. So it's important that we have a certain amount of participation, which we have had historically, so I know that you all like it. So I invite you to do it again.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the things I wanted to talk about were some of the recent releases and updates. We've gone over a lot of them in the demo, and I think people might be a little tired of hearing from me. So what I'm going to do is instead of going through this list, I'm actually going to show you something that launched today. It's been an oft-requested feature. So who's on the call? Whose website can I use for this?
Give me a second. Are there any volunteers?
No, we're going to use Annex Photo.
Okay. Shall we do this at the same time? I can also.
No, I'm just going to show it. We're going to trust that it works. So I'm going into the photo factory, and one of the features we've been asked for a lot, and we took a bit longer to put it, I'm not going to lie, is a way to transfer photos from other devices, which we've had on the kiosk. We were actually groundbreaking on the kiosk when we introduced that, but it wasn't available online. So you can now scan a QR code, which I'm doing right now.
I'm adding stuff as well.
What's nice about the feature is many people can collaborate at once. So if there's different people in the household that have a phone, you'll notice the copy to clipboard. If you want to email that to someone that was at an event with you, right? You can go ahead and add some photos. I've gone and done that on my end. Have you, Ryan?
I added one.
Okay. I'm done uploading. And there you go. There's some, oh, you took a picture of me. How delightful. Thank you. You took a picture of me during the webinar. We can now order that was a better one. So that's something that was released today. We haven't even announced it yet, so that's a brand new feature for you in the Photo Factory. It's going to be coming to basic print ordering as well, and it's also very important going to be coming to the kiosk printing as well. The kiosk Photo Factory, so that you can actually use the online version in store and save photos and stop having that disconnected experience as well. I'll also let you take a quick look at the 2025 roadmap. That one I'm going to talk about a little bit more because it does answer some of the questions that came up during the session. So we are working on serialized inventories right now. We are working on different POS reports. So we have basic reports that exist, but as more people come on board, we'll have more requirements because you all have different reporting needs. We were working on the store credit, so that actually touches what Paul wanted with those monthly billed customers, where we can create negative credit, positive credit, depending on how you want to see that. That can work as an accounts receivable. The QR upload to print, well, that actually came out today, so there you go. That's not, I'll just delete that. That's not on the roadmap anymore, that's out. We're actively working on a film dev module, which will allow you to sell film development online or in store, generate and upload links that you can automatically email those off to a customer. That is actually in progress now. The workflows is something that we're working on, the vendor to purchase module. SMS notifications is something we're looking at. And then we had some improvements requested to HEIC files and other file handling that we're working on. Any last questions, Ryan?
Yeah. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. All right, cool. I'm a little thirsty. I've been talking a lot.
All right. Well, too bad. I have another question.
Okay, there you go.
Can we share order status to registered customers? Example, shipping ETA into their RUA account.
So something like a shipping ETA, like giving them a specific time, not quite, unless you were creating custom statuses for like shipping in 5 days, shipping in 4 days, shipping in 3 days. That sounds like a lot of work, but the statuses on the orders will be visible to the customer. We haven't decided if we're going to make the workflows visible because that's just a whole other mess.
Cool. There's something that was on the roadmap that we didn't mention, which is something I'm working on, which is the integration of the new catalog inside of the Photo Factory using the AdverTech. So we have a bunch of new templates coming out, ranging from calendars, additional metal prints, plaque mount prints, additional metal print sizes, and a lot more. And then we're going to start going into a more B2B offering. So that's going to be something really interesting for all of you to look into. And I mean, that's going to start being deployed really soon. In fact, some products are available, such as calendars right now. So you can start activating those. All right.
And I'm going to leave you with Ryan's mission statement. We call it Up Your Game.
Up your game.
We call it Up Your Game. I should up my PowerCoin game here. Essentially, anything that you need, help creating custom products, help creating your used product workflow, help importing the AdverTech custom color catalog. If you need a website redesign, if you need to connect your store to Google Merchant Services, if you need help doing paid advertising,
upselling,
you need to create landing pages. Correct. Anything that you need help with, that will help you sell
more.
And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There you go. See, I had paused it last time. There's a stop button. And I'm going to wish you all a great afternoon. And thanks for being with us, and thanks for being patient throughout this this webinar. And for all the questions. Some of them were spot on.
Yeah, and we will be sending out a link later on. So if you missed any part of this webinar, or if you just want to watch it again, you'll be able to. We're gonna, once we finish processing and recording, we'll get that out to you probably tomorrow. All right.